Welcome back. Disgraced Hollywood movie mogul Harvey Weinstein, he's been granted an appeal more than 2 years after his sex crime convictions. The ruling from the New York State of Appeals clears the way for a new trial next year. Weinstein was convicted of third-degree rape and other crimes back in 2020. He now faces more than 80 allegations from a number of women. Our own Rich McHugh investigated this case with journalist Ronan Farrow for a year, which led to a Pulitzer Prize-winning story in the New Yorker magazine and has been credited as a catalyst for the Me Too movement. Just joining us live this morning with an exclusive with more information on this case. Good morning to you, Rich.
Hey, good morning, Adrienne. Harvey Weinstein has been in prison since his conviction in 2020. He's been appealing since his conviction, so this is not unexpected. And for the women who helped, seek justice and put him in jail, this is absolutely stressful and frustrating nonetheless.
Harvey Weinstein, whose sex crimes allegations sparked the Me Too movement, could soon be back in court. On Wednesday, New York's highest court agreed to let the former movie producer appeal his 2020 rape and sexual assault conviction. It doesn't guarantee a new trial for Weinstein and has nothing to do with the upcoming trial against him in California. Weinstein's legal team provided this statement to me on the appeal win. Weinstein says, "I'm innocent of these charges, and I'm so grateful to my attorneys for working hard and smart work on this. Their hard efforts will help me prove my innocence in the end. I look forward to this opportunity to be heard by the New York Court of Appeals." A court spokesperson says arguments will likely begin sometime next year, after which the court could decide to uphold Weinstein's conviction or order a new trial. The 70-year-old is currently serving 23 years in prison for 2 sexual assaults, one in 2006, another in 2013. A key player in the case against Weinstein, Jessica Mann. She was 25 years old when she met him, with hopes that the powerhouse movie producer would launch her acting career. Her testimony sealed the jury's decision to convict Weinstein. In a sit-down interview with Mann last year, I asked her of Weinstein's efforts to appeal. Harvey Weinstein has submitted an appeal. He says he did not receive a fair trial and that his constitutional rights were violated. How do you respond to that?
I almost find the situation laughable.
Why is that?
It's just so typical. He's looking for the loopholes, anything he can find, and at this point it's not a surprise. It's the 100+ voices of women who never knew each other, who never spoke, who lived in the dark and hid this shame and dealt with this trauma, attest to the fact that this man is not innocent. So he's delusional.
Now, in an exclusive statement about Weinstein's appeal, Mann says she's not surprised by the decision, telling me, quote, "Harvey Weinstein is a classic narcissist who continues to take zero accountability. His guilt has been proven multiple times and will continue to be proven in the coming trial." She adds, quote, "Regardless of the appeal, the world and his family alike have disowned him. We all know what a monster he is. Our society is safer without him." Mimi Hille, who also testified against Weinstein, sharing this with me. "He's guilty, and I believe he had a fair trial."
Now, Harvey Weinstein remains in prison, though he's been transferred to Los Angeles recently, where he's facing 11 different charges of sexual misconduct, and a trial is set to begin this fall. And again, those charges are completely separate from the trial, the trial and the charges that got him convicted in New York. Adrienne.
Rich, I know this, of course, was your reporting. You sat in the trial. What is his major argument here?
His argument relates to what are called Molyneux witnesses, and that's a legal term, but that means prior bad acts witnesses. So in the trial, there were others that were allowed to testify who had other bad experiences with Weinstein. And he says that's not fair. They should not have been allowed to testify. The jury heard those, and it may have weighed on their decision. But that's the thrust of his argument.
And I know you're not a lawyer, but what is the chances of him getting off on any of these charges?
Well, he's been arguing this whole thing, this line of argument since the beginning, and he argued it last year, asking for an appeal, and a lower court overruled and said, no, we stand by the conviction. So people who do know, lawyers that I've spoken to say they think the chances are slim, but anything is possible. So it's hard to say.
What about his health? I know that was a big issue. I mean, he went in standing, and then he's been seen limping and in wheelchairs. And
No real update on his physical condition, but as somebody who's watched this man since 2017 when we started reporting, he has declined rapidly. And I tend to tell people I think he will spend the rest of his life in prison. I don't think he will be getting out. And from what I hear, his condition is not worse. He's not getting any better. He's got several kind of ailments and needs medications and whatnot. But
can we remind viewers to how this story came about? You mentioned what year you started digging and investigating this.
So Ronan and I started working on this in 2017, and we worked on it for about a year while we were both at NBC at the time. The allegations, I believe, were published later in 2017 in the fall. There's a whole controversy leading up to that. One network chose not to publish them, a network that I worked for at the time. But ultimately, they were published in the New Yorker, and it went on to set off the Me Too movement.
All right, Rich, thank you. A piece of history now. Dark, but history. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.